And welcome everybody to TechSoup New Member Orientation. You're here for the questions and answers, and hopefully we have all of that for you. My name is Aretha Simons. I'm the webinar producer here. I'm going to show you on the next slide how you can engage. Many of you probably have been to some of our webinars, and this is mainly for people who need the closed caption. So if you need the closed caption, just tap on the CC button at the bottom of your screen and you'll be able to listen to everything and read everything everybody's saying, excuse me. We are recording this, so you're going to get the recording and the slides by later today. We would love if you would type your questions in the Q&A section, but if you need to use the chat, feel free. I know some people are on their phone, so that's totally fine. One last thing, there's going to be a survey with just 2 questions. Please take a moment and fill that out when you close your Zoom screen. I'm going to move out of the way and turn this over to Nick Finn. And you guys have a great webinar. See you on the other end.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's new member orientation at TechSoup. You've already met my wonderful colleague, Aretha Simons. My name is Nick Finn. Today, we're also going to be joined by Gerard Morris, Kelly Garrett, Kevin Mulhall, Susan Tenby, and all of us at TechSoup are here to help you. As we get going here, I want to start with a quick overview of what is TechSoup. And then we're going to go into a couple of different directions that I think will be helpful for all of you as you understand how we can support you in your mission and what it is that we have to offer. So first of all, very important to bring right at the front end is that TechSoup is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, just like you. We have more than 400,000 nonprofit members in the United States. And while this webinar is designed for nonprofits and folks who are new to TechSoup, meaning you've joined already, we do know that there are folks who show up to this webinar and they have not joined TechSoup yet. And so I do want to just say that to use TechSoup's offers and services, you need to be a TechSoup member. If you go to TechSoup.org, in the top right-hand corner, there's a join button. Click on that join button, add your information, add your nonprofit's information, and make sure you're a TechSoup member. That way you can have access and use the resources that we're going to talk about today. At TechSoup, we support nonprofits who work with technology to help build a more equitable planet. We have an editorial position. We believe that technology can be a profoundly powerful tool, and in the hands of the good people of the nonprofit movement, it can do wonderful things. And we are not agnostic about it. We believe that tech can help you, but we also believe that it takes good people to bend technology toward making a more equitable planet and helping people in local communities. And that's what we should be doing with technology. How do we do this? Well, one thing we do is host a catalog of affordable tech products from major brands like Microsoft, Dell, Intuit, Adobe, and many, many more. We're going to talk about some of them shortly. That catalog can only be used by 501c3 nonprofits. And the pricing in that catalog is designed to be helpful to nonprofits so that you can stretch your budget further. The offers are philanthropic offers from the technology creators like Adobe, Microsoft, etc. And the pricing you'll see in that catalog is generally better than what you'll find on the open market. It is designed specifically for nonprofits. In addition to the technology products from the major brands that we're going to talk about, TechSoup also provides a number of services to help nonprofits install, manage, use, troubleshoot the technology products that they have in-house, right? We know at this point that tech can be a very powerful tool, but sometimes the real work begins once you have acquired a technology product, because now you're faced with all the questions of how do I implement this? How do I make sure my staff are trained to use this? How do I use technology rather than just get it? We create a number of different educational resources to help nonprofit staff build their technology skills and expertise. We do know that staff training is a really key component of what nonprofits need help and support with. And so we provide those materials through a number of different avenues at TechSoup, and we'll talk more about that. And like all of you, we also deliver grant-based programming to help civil society use technology, right? So we work with all sorts of large grantees and funding organizations, and we've worked on a number of different issues, including data commons, including public access to credible information in social platforms, and making sure that the technology we're using is doing what we think it should be doing. There's some key terms I want to touch on. The first is this notion of being qualified. As I said, the TechSoup catalog and the services and offers that we provide are exclusive to nonprofits, to 501c3s. And by the way, you should know we also operate outside the United States in many, many other countries. They don't call them 501c3s in other countries. That's a US tax designation. But our global reach is to touch nonprofits and charities, right? So that's who we work with fairly exclusively. Qualified means that you have given TechSoup your nonprofit's information, and we have verified that you are indeed a nonprofit and therefore eligible to use the catalog and services that we have. And again, because our pricing is really good, there are folks who may want to try to use it who don't work at nonprofits, and we have to be extra careful that it's nonprofits using our services and offers. Some products in the TechSoup catalog have even more restrictions around them. For instance, they may only be available to nonprofits under a certain budget level or of a particular mission type. We refer to that as eligibility. So you're a TechSoup member and you're qualified, meaning you're a nonprofit and you're in our system. Sometimes you may not be eligible for everything in the catalog, but that just means that you have to pay close attention to the items in the catalog that you're trying to get. TechSoup is never going to give you something that you're not eligible for, but it's good to understand that eligibility is part of the process you need to go through here. Digital resilience is another term that we use a lot in sort of the nonprofit technology movement. It's a general concept that is basically the idea that your nonprofit is more resilient when it uses digital technology and can survive disruptions and crises a little more readily. And the example that folks often use, for instance, is during COVID, there were nonprofits who still relied on a paper and pencil accounting system, believe it or not. But that accounting system was not usable during COVID because people could not be in the same place, right? And so this broad-based movement to cloud data, and for nonprofits working with finance in particular, the use of Intuit QuickBooks, frankly, is one of the ways that you could make a nonprofit more digitally resilient and able to continue to function in the face of some kind of external disruption, right? We all know about disruption these days. Civil society is the final term I want to touch on because we talk about that often too. Civil society, from TechSoup's perspective, is the broad culture of change makers and do-gooders in the US and around the world who are working in non-governmental, non-business organizations, right? We're not a for-profit organization, neither are you, and we're not the government, and neither are you, right? We are this other branch of society that works to make the world a better place in local communities or globally, depending on what issue area is that you're working in. Now, we're going to talk about the offers and products available through TechSoup. But first, as I said, you need to be a TechSoup member to take advantage of these things. So I'm going to invite to the stage my colleague Gerard Morris, who's going to talk about TechSoup's membership opportunities.
All right. Good morning slash afternoon, all. As Nick mentioned, I'm Senior Director of Customer Success here at TechSoup, and my team works in a variety of different facets as it relates to the experience that you all may have, whether you're an existing member or you're trying to become a member. All right. And so as you become a TechSoup member, you come in as what we call a do-it-yourself, a DIY member. This means that you have access to our catalog, you're qualified, and you have access to the things that you are eligible for. But there are multiple levels to this. And so you can also become a Boost member where you get access to some of the same products or different products at an additional discount from what you would get in the DIY. So for example, we charge admin fees to remain sustainable as a nonprofit ourselves. In some cases, those admin fees would be discounted, in a number of cases, even waived. You also get access to our entire TechSoup catalog, especially the 100 and 200 level courses are available to you at 50% off. Some of those course tracks run $200 and up just for one track, for example. And so for you to be able to get 50% off of that, automatically you start to see a return on your investment. And then at the quad level, in addition to getting the same benefits that you would get as a Boost member, you also get access to all of the 100 and 200 level courses for free or no additional charge, and then additional TechSoup support to manage your tech stack. And what does that look like? That means beyond maybe some of the basic issues you may have with like licensing and things like that. Kelly's going to talk about that in a little bit. If you're looking to make a big decision or you're looking to work through your technology strategy, we can guide you in the right direction, whether that's us giving you direct access to our team or resources, or even directing you to our managed services ecosystem of partners. Also, you get access to our quad community member-only events, where we have this private community where you can essentially attend events that have been curated and designed specifically for you as a quad member. Furthermore, you can talk to other folks. So I saw in the chat, for example, Arts Earth. So if there are other organizations that are doing similar things that Arts Earth is doing, basically you can come to Quad and you can find your tribe, so to speak, and find out what other folks are dealing with as it relates to the same challenges that you may face. We also have a whole host of content that's available to you as well that you can only find in the Quad community. And obviously I mentioned the peer-to-peer community. All of these things we're still working on, we're still building out, we're looking to make them stronger every day. Still have work to do, but we absolutely want to make sure that you're aware that you have multiple options. Now, as it relates to the customer success team, which I mentioned, essentially you can learn more about the products and services available. So let's say you want to understand the difference between different Microsoft licenses, E1 through E5. You can meet with someone on my team to help walk you through that and help guide you in the right direction depending on the needs of your organization. We could also help assess your technology stack. So we can look at what you have and say, okay, you've got all the good productivity stuff, you've got the accounting stuff, but maybe you're missing some elements that will help you on the cybersecurity side. And we can walk you through that. We can also gain valuable insights into the latest practices and principles. So we're talking to nonprofits like you every single day, and we've learned a lot about how organizations operate, especially at different sizes, right? And so if you are a 3-person shop, or you're an executive director and you have a few dedicated part-time volunteers, what does that look like, and how can you maximize technology, in your efforts? And then discussing RFPs, review scopes of works. So this is starting to get into some of the services pieces. So whether that's you working with your own IT services partner, or you're looking to find grants of your own, we can connect you with tools like GrantStation and others to help you on your journey. So again, there are a lot of ways in which we can connect with you from a customer success standpoint. And that's the gist of it. Obviously, I can keep going on, but that is the gist of it. And we can now get into some of the catalog options available to you as well.
All right, great. Thank you, Gerard. And as Susan also pointed out in chat, yeah, if you have questions about membership, please do drop them into the chat. We're monitoring that, trying to answer stuff as quickly as we can. So now I'm going to move on and start looking at the products and offers that are available through TechSoup. to help your nonprofit in its technology journey, whatever that might be. And so the first thing I'm going to do is like pull up this screenshot of the TechSoup website, which I'm going to assume most folks on this call have been to at some point in time, hopefully in the recent past. The URL is obviously TechSoup.org. And this navigation up here is what's going to be important for us to look at first. And so if I click on this, supposedly, I didn't get it. Trying to pull up for you a live version of the site. So give me 1 second and let's do that. There we go. Okay. So here we are on the live site, and we're going to talk about GrantStation in a minute here. But first, I want to take us to this drop-down menu, Products. Here, you're going to find your main conduit to the things that your nonprofit might be really interested in terms of technology products. We run really strong partnerships with Microsoft, Adobe, and Intuit QuickBooks, which is why we highlight them here in the navigation. These are large global brands, obviously, who create lots of different technology products, and they have a number of different offers available in our catalog for nonprofits, and so we call them out. I also want to pull out hardware here, which is something else you can get through TechSoup. And then we're going to click through to the full catalog. But I'm going to start just by popping through to what we see on the Microsoft page at TechSoup, right? Just to give you a taste and a feel of the kinds of things available through TechSoup. Now, I think by now everybody understands cloud computing is really where nonprofits need to be, much more resilient, much more reliable. Right off the bat, through Microsoft, there are some key cloud subscriptions that are available to you. You know, the big one obviously is Office 365, which lots and lots, thousands of nonprofits get that through TechSoup every single year. We also do have access to Microsoft Copilot through the TechSoup catalog, which is something that lots of nonprofits, of course, have been extremely interested in working with and learning how to work with. And we have all sorts of resources out there on the TechSoup site and in various teams to help nonprofits figure out what acceptable use policies should be around using AI and, making sure that you're thinking intelligently about what AI can do for your nonprofit and how not to use it and how to use it. We also have what I would call like older applications from Microsoft. They're current, but it's a different style. These are called on-premises products. On-premise meaning that you download it to your computer and it sits there. That's where it exists rather than in the cloud. And we do have some of those items available through Microsoft, including Office Standard. This is for computer labs only. I saw somebody, at least one person from a library on this chat here. We often find that libraries actually do host computer labs for the public. And so if Office Standard is part of what you might need, TechSoup can help you with that. And of course, access to Windows 11 and a number of other more complex tools here, including Visual Studio, server solutions like Microsoft Azure. Those are bigger technical products that a very small nonprofit might not need to worry about at all. But if you need Microsoft Office for your nonprofit and you do not have it already, and you don't know what license you need to get and how much it's going to cost and how to administer it, start with TechSoup. We can help you on that. We are one of the largest suppliers of Microsoft products within the nonprofit sector. Adobe is another partnership that we've maintained for a long time, and especially if you work in nonprofit communications or specifically in graphic design or web design, you know Adobe products guaranteed because they really have been the staple of how so much of the internet has been built and looks from a graphic design perspective, right? We have Adobe Creative Cloud, which is the traditional package of things like Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. We also have a new, I can't call it new anymore, actually, because it's been around for almost 2 years for us now, but Adobe Express, which is a more streamlined, easier to use graphics package, which I think of specifically as being really good for folks who might be doing social media or short 30-second video clips that they want to work on. That's a great use case for Adobe Express. We also have Adobe Acrobat Pro DC. And Acrobat Pro obviously is sort of like the pinnacle of managing PDFs, portable document format, and that's a technology that Adobe invented themselves, right? So we have access to that. And then there's some other older versions as well, Photoshop Elements, Acrobat Pro, but I think that is going to go away. So it's probably Acrobat Pro DC that you really want to look at. But again, that Adobe partnership, particularly from a communications perspective, super powerful, super helpful for lots of nonprofits, and thousands of them take these products from TechSoup every year as well. I also want to talk about Intuit QuickBooks, who I mentioned earlier, as really what we find being the most popular bookkeeping solution for nonprofits. If you are a newly formed nonprofit and just starting to figure out what the different technology pieces are that you need, I strongly recommend looking at Adobe, or sorry, at Intuit QuickBooks as the platform that you use. And we have lots of resources at TechSoup on how to, adopt that, how to migrate your data into it if you have some older data. The next thing that I want to call out here is hardware. TechSoup has known for a long time, obviously, that the cost of hardware itself sometimes can be quite prohibitive for nonprofits. Like if you feel like you need to be updating to brand new laptops every 2 or 3 years. And, I'm in Oakland here in the Bay Area, and certainly in this tech economy here in the Bay, people who get brand new laptops every single year with the latest, greatest memory and the fastest processor and the nicest touchscreen. And, nonprofits just can't play that game. Technology is way too expensive to be doing that. But we have other options for you instead. We do carry a number of mobile devices, which are worth calling out, but really most of this is about the laptops and desktops that you can get through TechSoup. And you can get a combination of two different things, really. There's new things that you can get, and we maintain partnerships with Dell, with HP, with Lenovo, and others to bring new hardware into the catalog. But we also provide access to something called the refurbished hardware program. In fact, this is something that TechSoup has been a leader on. This idea that, a computer that's 3 or 4 years old is not necessarily obsolete. It's not done. It can still function. And if you can send that unit to a refurbisher who makes sure that the hard drive is wiped, that it's clean, that it can still run, that the motherboard and the processor are good, that the electronics of the computer are still working, you can save money by buying refurbished units versus brand new units. And that's a very green practice, right? And so going back to this notion of TechSoup as a 501c3 nonprofit who actually has an agenda to build a more equitable planet, we believe that green technology is part of that, right? So let's not just run out and buy the brand new spanking thing every single time that we can. Think ecologically and whether or not maybe a refurbished unit can actually provide the same benefit that you need and be a greener solution at the same time. We also have, if you're a nonprofit that needs networking equipment, security cameras, things like that, we have access to those things as well in the catalog. So if you're thinking about hardware for your nonprofit, encourage you to go to the TechSoup catalog, take a look at what that hardware is. It's located here under the products dropdown. Finally, let's talk about the full catalog because there are many, many, many other brands and products available in the TechSoup catalog. And so I'm just going to the main page of the catalog here. To see all of it, you go to this full catalog under products, right? And just scrolling through here again, giving you a view of the different brands and services, which we're going to talk about next, that are available in the TechSoup catalog. But first, I do want to call out something called GrantStation, which is actually going on right now. GrantStation is an online database of about 15,000 funders who are accepting unsolicited grant applications. Right. So this is a great tool for folks who are working in fundraising, finance, and grant writing. If you're in the position of needing to look around this year at what other sources of grant funding might be available to you, GrantStation is a great product to look at. Twice a year, GrantStation does a special pricing promotion. And usually it's $199 at TechSoup, but you save 40% of that cost during those promotional periods. And guess what? Yesterday and today are the promotional period. So in particular, I would call out for anyone on the call today, if you are really thinking about grants and fundraising in particular, check out that GrantStation offer. It ends at 5 p.m. Pacific today. We can't extend it either. The next time it goes on special would probably be in September. That's the standard cadence, is February and September. But if you're thinking about these issues right now, check out the GrantStation promotion on the TechSoup.org website. For $119, you get a full 1-year subscription. There are tools on that site to help you with your grant writing process. And I think it's well worth the time, even if as inspiration and a research tool, and that's what you get out of it. It can be very helpful. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about here are TechSoup services. So I talked earlier about how acquiring a product really isn't enough anymore. There's so many questions that come when you have it. How do I implement it? How do I put data into it, legacy data? How do I train my staff to use it? How do I make sure it's configured properly? What license should I have gotten for this software, right? All these things come to mind as key questions that we find we answer over and over again for nonprofits. Over time, we've developed a set of services, and we are constantly adding new services to this list. These services, again, are for nonprofits only, but they're designed to help you as you figure out what you're going to do with your technology. So I am just going to literally go through right now what you see in the drop-down menu, right? So we have something called Managed IT Services, which is a broad relationship with TechSoup to manage all your technology stack. And it's a fairly common solution that lots of nonprofits go with. We've seen time after time that most nonprofits, particularly smaller ones, do not have a dedicated technology person. It's usually somebody who's wearing multiple hats. And when that's the case, they almost always need help figuring out some of the more technical troubleshooting issues that they have. Managed IT is a great solution for that because it's comprehensive. Another offer we have in the services department is help desk. That's limited to, like, you've got this one thing, and I'm going to make up the example, but it always works to orient around it. You've got that one printer in your office that everybody has to use, and maybe it's even slightly older because you can't afford to replace it, but you need somebody to help you figure out how to make that printer continue to run, and it gives you trouble. Who do you lean on? A help desk contract with TechSoup can be a way for you to solve that gap and make sure that that particular piece of hardware is operating properly. I've already mentioned Microsoft 365, right? That's the cloud-based office suite that lots of nonprofits take from TechSoup, but it is a complex thing, right? And so we have services that you can also get through TechSoup to help you work with Microsoft 365 to implement it correctly, to make sure the licenses are configured correctly, and definitely recommend that you reach out to TechSoup if you're thinking about going with Microsoft 365. We have learned over time, of course, that for lots of nonprofits, maybe the most important piece of technology actually is their website. Because it's our primary communications vehicle with the public, with the people that we serve, perhaps with other audiences, journalists, elected officials, board members, people in a particular community. Your website is a key piece of your presence, and yet very often nonprofits don't have the in-house expertise to put that website up, keep it running, keep it updated, etc. So we have a a number of different website services available through this drop-down menu. Encourage you to reach out and talk to us about it if you really are thinking about getting help on your website. And I want to be clear about something, by the way. None of these services are free. There is cost involved here, right? And that unfortunately is just the truth about technology. But all our services are designed for use by nonprofits. And this is a big gap in the marketplace because who hasn't already been approached by numerous vendors wanting to know how they can maximize your business and help your ROI, especially if you're brand new. But what they miss is like, we're not a business, we're a nonprofit. We think very differently. The way we spend money is very different. These services are designed to work with nonprofits, not with just a small business. Sometimes nonprofits are in the position where they have to actually engage in marketing, outbound marketing, to talk to people, to communicate, to bring new folks in who are going to use their services. And again, sometimes that expertise doesn't exist in-house. So if you need help with digital marketing specifically, we also have stuff available on that. I've mentioned Intuit QuickBooks now 3 times. Here's the 4th time. We have services to help you migrate existing financial data into Intuit QuickBooks if that's what you need help on. And then, of course, you know, I would be remiss if I didn't mention AI today. It's the first time I've mentioned it, but it's a huge, oh, actually, it's not. Sorry, second time. It's a huge burgeoning area for nonprofits right now, right? And we have launched a service in the last few months to really help nonprofits figure out how to use AI, how not to use AI, and what you need to think about if you're going to use it internally as an organization. So that gets us through some of the major offers in the catalog. And now I'm just going to quickly pop through some of these slides that we've already talked to. And next, what we're going to do is bring up my wonderful colleague, Kelly Garrett. Kelly's going to speak about how you engage with TechSoup when you need a little bit of help, right? And I want to just like create 2 buckets here to think about. So Gerard and Gerard's team are customer success, right? They're here to help you with the technology side of things. Kelly is here to help you, and her team is here to help you with TechSoup itself, right? So you have a membership with TechSoup, you have a relationship, you have an account, and sometimes something's not quite working the way you need it to. That's where Kelly comes in to save the day.
Thank you so much, Nick. Appreciate that. And welcome, everyone. I hope you are having a good week and you're excited about the Grant Station promotion we've been talking about and all that good stuff. I will be going over today what TechSoup customer service can do for you, and also how to navigate our website so that you can do some self-service when you need support or you have questions about stuff. So first things first that I like to point out to our members is navigating the product pages or the offer pages. These are where you've looked for a product either by navigating the way Nick showed you to the product catalog, or you use that magnifying glass. It looks like it's cut off on the right there a little bit for my screenshot, but in the top right corner, there is a, oh, I apologize. This looks like this screenshot is an older version. So just keep in mind that the information is pretty much laid out the same way. You will see that there is a product name, and underneath it there is going to be all of the product information. The admin feed, we just updated our website. It is going to be in black font, so where you see that 80, it's still going to be 80, but it's going to be black. And then there will be an add to cart button underneath that. Additionally, underneath that add to cart button, there are still 3 tabs of information on the offer page. It is very important to make sure that you click through each one of these tabs of information before you request an offer. Most of the nonprofit offers from our partners' nonprofit programs are non-refundable and non-exchangeable. So it is very important to make sure you're reading through everything before you fully check out and provide payment. A lot of times we will not be able to facilitate a refund if you realized you got the wrong thing, or if you wanted to test something out and then decide you don't like it. Make sure that you're checking the product pages, talking to the partner that creates and provides the product. For example, Intuit creates QuickBooks Online, and this is their product that they support. It's the exact same product on the commercial or retail market, so their support's able to answer in-depth functionality questions, provide support, things along those lines. In the top right corner is where there is an add to cart button and also a magnifying glass. That is where you'll find the products to open these offer pages, or to click on the cart to see what you've added to your cart so far. And that's another good thing to keep in mind for when you're looking for your products, or to see, what is already there, what am I trying to check out with. Next slide, please. The middle tab, I do recommend also, reviewing all 3 tabs is very important. For any of the subscription type of products, really important to check that middle tab. There is a lot of really good information for subscription products. It's going to tell you if there is, how to continue service after the first year, what the start date looks like, usually has a link to system requirements, things along those lines. So a lot of questions that folks have is typically answered on this offer a product page. And then there is usually resources that you can click on throughout these tabs of information. Next slide, please. So moving forward, if you do check your product page and you're not seeing an answer to your question, you may be looking for account management support, something else along those lines. We do have underneath our help tab, now it says TechSoup support. Along with some other options that when you click on that, and TechSoup support will take you to our support articles, which is where we keep updated information about product support, Microsoft support, and general support. We do like to try to put in for some of our more popular products when they're out of stock, for example, QuickBooks Online or an Adobe product. What we usually do is we do try to put an out of stock notification in TechSoup support, and then you can go in there and check in for updates. Typically when stuff goes out of stock, we are going to restock it. Donors and partners do give us a certain number of licenses, sometimes per quarter or fiscal year. So we sometimes will run out, and it does take us a little bit of time to get that restocked. Some of it's right away. Some of it is a little bit longer because they're waiting for a timing thing. While these are cloud products and you are downloading and installing them or using a promo code to get them from a cloud or online electronically, there is still keys and licenses, attached to these, and they can go out of stock. That's a common question I hear is, how does a cloud product go out of stock? It's because there are actual keys and licenses tied to that virtual product that you're getting. Perfect. So next slide, please. So all of this information you can find in, as I said, the TechSoup support page. It's support.techsoup.org, or you can access it through that help tab or that help drop down menu. There's a search option. There are then the 3 sections of support information, and then we have some promoted articles that will help you see what's kind of popular, what we've been promoting. Next slide, please. So yeah, so this is a breakdown of what Nick was kind of talking about. What can TechSoup do for you? So customer service or client services, we also call ourselves. We're going to help you with your account management. Are you eligible for something? What's your qualification status? Where did that fulfillment email with my promo code or my download link go? Things along those lines we'll be able to assist you with. If you need more in-depth product and service questions or product and service recommendations like we've been talking about, that's when TechSoup Customer Success is a great place to go. We did see there's been an email alias popped in there. I think solutions@techsoup.org or community@techsoup.org is a great way to get in touch with them if you do need these recommendations. Please keep in mind that if you're asking about your eligibility or having login issues, they're not going to be supporting you on that. That's when you want to come to customer service. IT and support and download and installation support, that's typically going to be our services and solutions options. You can always contact a partner as well about that. And they can help you with their products or their services that they've provisioned for nonprofits. Perfect. So next slide. So how to contact TechSoup customer service. This is 2 articles that are linked here. You also see those linked on our Contact Us page. It's basically The first one is going to link you to the hours of operation, how to access our live chat, things along those lines. We do hear from members sometimes that they're having trouble accessing our live chat, which is, we have the secondary article listed there, which will walk you through all the troubleshooting. It's rare that we are not open during our normal hours of operation, Monday through Friday. We are located on the east or on the West Coast, so it is Pacific time, not Eastern time. And if you're not seeing a help bubble or something along those lines, that is usually having to do with your browser settings. So we do have a bunch of troubleshooting for how to update your browser settings, make sure that they're not blocking the pop-up window, things along those lines. And our troubleshooting typically resolves the issue, so long as you're able to, try that incognito mode or a different browser, things along those lines. Perfect. Last but not least is this slide just highlighting where that help bubble is that I'm talking about. Really important to make sure your cookies are enabled for our TechSoup website. To see the bubble, if you don't see the bubble, your pop-up blockers are active and they're blocking the help bubble. So something to keep in mind, which is all gone over in TechSoup support. But if you ever have any other issues, we also have any issues getting in touch with us via this pop-up. We also have a community forums we try to keep an eye on, things along those lines. So there's other spots in our website that you can self-serve or find a place to post if you're looking for some help and you're having trouble. Perfect. So thank you, Susan, for dropping in that contact us URL in the chat. That is there, and it is linked at the bottom of all of our pages. So you can get in touch with us Monday through Friday. Typically it's 7 a.m. to about 3 p.m. Fridays we do close early at noon to work on, focusing on qualifications and things like that. So appreciate your patience with us and look forward to working with you all.
Thank you, Kelly. Well, that brings us to the end of the organized deck and everybody's presentations. And I want to thank you for attending today. And I also want to say thank you to each of you. I really love at the front end of these webinars when folks post in chat what the mission area is of their nonprofit. Because it's just such a wonderful reminder of how much good work is actually going on out there in the world. Good people who care about other people, who are working on issues around healthcare, education, homelessness, the arts. I saw all of those things, libraries, all of those things were in chat today. Again, from TechSoup's perspective, y'all are the people that we want to help the most. You're doing the hard work in communities. You've made your own choice to work in the nonprofit movement and to actually take on solving some of these issues. So I want to thank you for the work that you're doing in your communities. And I really hope that something TechSoup does can help you in that work. So again, as I said, if you're not already a TechSoup member, if your organization hasn't joined TechSoup, please do that. It's the first step to using the products and services and getting a membership level that really works for your nonprofit. You will receive an email after this webinar ends, a copy of the live deck. There are links in the deck. You can follow them to click through to the site. Again, it's TechSoup.org if it's not just fresh in your browser there. And with that, I'm going to let you all go. Thanks so much for your time today and appreciate it. And good luck. We'll see you out there.